Hi everybody, we're going to do some crafting today. Welcome to the Craft Corner with Miss Lenora. Um, so art and crafting is one of my favorite things to do with kids. And if it's not yours, it's totally okay. Everybody's different, right? Everybody has their strength and what they love to do, and then what they could do without. Okay, so if you're insecure about doing crafts or anything else that we bring up here, like singing or whatever it might be, it's totally okay to modify things so that you're comfortable, because most importantly is that you feel confident as a teacher and your kids feel comfortable with you. Okay, so that being said, don't be afraid to look a little silly sometimes, because kids yoga can get really silly, but also don't do anything that doesn't feel right to you. Okay, there's plenty of suggestions in our manual that you can take or leave. Okay, there's plenty to do without doing everything. So choose what you're really good at, or what you really enjoy, or what really excites you, and then do those activities with your kids, and they'll appreciate it. So that being said, the Lotus Craft. So the Lotus activity is part of our training, part of our curriculum called Planting Seeds. That's where it came from. And it's one of our favorite ones. And because it's so yoga related, planting seeds and watching what grows and taking care of it and nurturing it, stuff like that, seeing what blossoms. So in our Planting Seeds curriculum, though, we have a fun craft, which is called the Lotus. And the Lotus Craft, I guess it's called. And the lotus is represented in many beliefs and many ancient books, and um, and many other traditions, I guess. So that the point behind it is that the lotus grows in a really what we would consider a really uncomfortable and icky condition. Okay, it grows in the swamp, in the dirty water, the stagnant water, and it's filled with bugs and leaves and dead things and everything like that, right? And it's muddy and it's still, it's not moving water like a beautiful river, it's still. And so the lotus becomes extremely strong. Its stem plows through all that stuff in order to grow. So you might say that it's a determined kind of plant. It tries hard to succeed. And what happens is, through that evolution, is that it gets an extremely strong stem, and it becomes a super hardy plant. And of course, once it gets above water, it bursts into this beautiful lotus flower, just more colorful and beautiful than anything you've seen. So the lesson behind that is often referred to as, through the mud, we get the beautiful flower. And that's where the saying, no mud, no lotus, comes from, if you've ever heard that. And you can share it with your kids, and it's kind of a cute way to remember it. If you don't go through the mud, you don't get the beautiful flower at the end. You don't get any of the rewards. And this is a really common thread among many traditions. But the Lotus Mudra, you can teach them at the same time. And that's, let me put it where you can see it, I guess. Yeah. So you bring your pinky and your thumb together, and then the palms, the bottoms of your palms, and then you open up as wide as you can into your lotus. Okay. And you can do a lotus breath with this activity as well, which would be, let's see, we'll inhale on the filling up and exhale on the closing. So similar to our balloon breath or other breaths we might know. Flower breath is similar to this. That's kind of a fun way to calm them down. And the lotus actually does, or water lilies actually do, close up at nighttime. So they do spring open every morning to greet the day. The lotus activity is a really fun one for me. And again, like, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it, okay? But I'm going to show you real quick. So in your book, you'll see a template. You come up nice and close so you can see what the template looks like. That's your Lotus Petals template. There are 6 per page, but you need 9 for each child in your class. So what I recommend is doing this at home ahead of time. Sit down with your cup of coffee or your tea and put your feet up and cut these out for your kids and listen to some music or something. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that page, And we're going to fold it in half along with some paper that I have folded in half underneath it, okay? And then we're just going to cut along the lines. And these do not have to be accurate. They're totally, kids can cut these out on their own as well. So older kids, you might have them, you might copy your template and give it out to all your kids and give them scissors. But for younger kids, it would take all class to do this if you had them cutting out their own. So just go ahead and give them the pre-cut petals, okay? And if I know you probably can't see, but I'm really not cutting even along the lines. I mean, I'm really cheating a lot with this because it does not matter. And then if you have, after you've folded and you have connected pieces, you just separate them off. So with a couple of pieces of paper, I just made more than enough for my class, or for one student rather, okay? So it'll take you a little while, but I think it's worthwhile. And again, the older kids, let them do it themselves. So you can do all the same color, or you can have multicolors in your Lotus. You know, sometimes there's an argument about who gets what color. So if you don't want that, then make them all take a multitude of colors, just multicolored for all of them, okay? And the first step of this is kind of a little meditation. So we want to think about gratitude for all that we have in our lives, even when it's difficult. And that's the purpose of the Lotus activity. So on the first 4 petals, you can have them write something about themselves that they like, that they appreciate, and they think is a positive thing for them, okay? This can be like, I'm funny, I'm kind, I'm a good friend, I'm a good brother, whatever that may be, okay? And they can write it on the inside or the outside, it doesn't matter. Once they write their word or draw their picture if they're little, you can go ahead and start assembling the Lotus. So what we'll do is there are some diagrams in your book on page 114, and I'll show it to you, and then once you make this, you'll really be comfortable training it, you know, teaching kids how to do it, okay? So we'll take you need stapler or tape, or both. Once the kids get their 4 lined up in a slight arch, okay, so it's going to just curve just a little, in other words, not be straight, a little bit of opening here. You're going to go around with your tape or your stapler for younger kids, okay, older kids can do it themselves, and you're just going to staple these things together in position. Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Far from it. It's a kid's activity. So I have 4 of my petals stapled together. And on there, they may have written the things that they're grateful for about themselves. That's great. I just didn't do that here. And if you're making your own, go ahead and do that. What you're grateful for about yourself. And then when you're finished, you're going to turn it, you're going to bring them together. So the 2 ends, right, come together and you form a little crown, which they will proceed to put on their heads because they're kids. Easier said than done, right? And again, don't worry about how big it is or anything like that. I'll show you why. So you're going to have your 4 for your inside of your Lotus. There's also a template for your lily pad, so you can have that as well. What you're going to do is place the inner part of your circle, inner part of your ring here on the lily pad. Some kids really want to attach it, so okay, we can tape it on there. Not really necessary, but. And then you're taking your 5 other ones, and you're going to write on the inside or the outside of your 5, you're going to write things in your life that you're grateful for. So remember, this is a gratitude exercise. The Lotus shows us that through all the difficulties, we have much to be grateful for. And I'll show you this one with tape, okay, just to show you. So you would go around with your tape, everybody'd have it set up on the floor in front of them, and you would just do a little tape on one side, maybe tape on the other side if you want. And you would end up with 5 in a row. 3. So if you want to try this yourselves, all you need is a couple pieces of colored paper, tape, scissors, and a stapler. As you can see, I think the stapler is easier, but you may have many kids in your class, and so you might have a couple of helpers going around with tape or whatever. Once they see it done, it's really, they'll get it. They'll pick it up. I've done it many times, and even the little ones, when they need help, they'll sit and wait for you to come around with the tools. And on the inside now, on the outside or inside of the petals, you will have written the things you're grateful for in your life, and then we'll make that into a full circle. Because this one has 5 and the other one had 4, the small one will fit inside the large one. Okay, and you'll have a cute little lotus to sit on your lily pad. Okay, it'll be filled with things that, reminders of things that we're grateful for. Okay, so that's the lotus activity. Have fun with that.